I am Susie Schuster sitting in for Rich Eisen. The call-in number is 844-204-RICH. Krista Smith, the West Coast editor of Vanity Fair, joins me right now. We're talking about pet peeves in sports, but before we do that, and again, the phone lines are open and buzzing, but we have a call. John in L.A. at LAX. John, are you there?
Susie Shu and Kay Smizzle. How goes it?
Is this Jon Hamm of Mad Men fame?
Well, formerly of Mad Men. You know, we're done with that show now. We're on a bigger and better thing.
Jon Hamm, I am so happy to hear from you. Krista Smith delivers as always.
Hi, John. How's LAX?
It's delightful. I'm sitting in the lounge getting ready to fly to New York, where apparently it's freezing cold, but it's perfectly lovely, overcast West LA day.
Are you Bloody Marying yet, or are you taking your way into the morning slowly?
I'm Diet Coking, and I'm sea salt and vinegar free potato chipping.
Sweet.
Ooh, nice. That sounds good.
It's going to be a...
John, I have a question for you. John, I brought in my Terrell Davis jersey that you gave me on one of your boondoggles. Did you win that in a poker tournament, or how did that come to be?
I actually did, and I think I won it in a poker tournament that Mr. Rich Eisen even played in. So
is this from Rich's birthday?
It's all back. Yeah, it's all in the family.
Do you see how this all comes back together?
And did you meet Tim Tebow at the Oscar party? Didn't you guys have a moment?
Yeah, but I had met Timmy at the NFL Honors too the year before when the Super Bowl was in Indianapolis.
Jon Hamm, the handsome actor, joining us from LAX in the lounge where he is eating free chips. Krista Smith, the West Coast editor of Vanity Fair, joining us on the Rich Eisen Show. And should we talk a little bit of football? I mean, it is a football show.
I didn't see the game last night. I gather it was a defensive battle, which is usually a short, sort of code for saying a terrible game. But I would never say that. Just
so you know, it was so boring that Chris Brockman was checking his OkCupid account and seeing if chicks were trying to pick him up. He also was very busy watching the 50 Shades of Grey trailer, which, by the way, I thought was very inappropriate since my 3-year-old was in the room.
Look,
but
John,
that's just saying.
Look, John, I'm not as handsome as you are. I need to go through different outlets to find the ladies. And that trailer looks pretty good, to be honest.
All right, I'm glad.
Okay, Cupid.
That's a movie for like 40 and 50-year-old women. You're aware of that, right? You should just be aware of that.
Oh, all right. I have to reevaluate my life.
That said,
those of you who are watching on DirecTV Channel 239 are seeing Jon Hamm on the cover of Vanity Fair. I want you to feel so good about yourself right now. Tom Brady, according to Krista Smith, and she is, of course, she's the key bearer for all things Vanity Fair.
That is true.
Tom Brady, not big enough to be on the cover of Vanity Fair, and you, sir, you were. Come on.
Well, I owe it all to Krista, of course, who's been a mutual friend, a friend of ours, I will say, for quite some time, and is one of the nicest people in any media, and it's we're pals, and it was a nice confluence of events that put me on the cover of Vanity Fair, and it was a high point in my life. I have 2 covers of Vanity Fair in my office. One of them is mine, and one of them is Justin Bieber's, and they're both were both given to me by Krista Smith. So.
Amazing. That's fantastic, by the way. The Biebs. The Biebs is big enough. But again, and I'm a homer, John. I mean, I'm a huge Patriots fan, so the fact that the Biebs is big enough, but it makes me a little upset. I know you're a St. Louis fan for baseball. Are you St. Louis for football too?
It's weird because I
think are you Chiefs or St. Louis?
Rams fan,
right?
And it's because the Rams moved to St. Louis kind of the year I moved to LA. So I'm the reason that Los Angeles doesn't have a football team. So I kind of have no real. I mean, other than I think everybody was a Rams fan in the late '90s when they were the greatest show on turf, and that was because that was just incredible football to watch. But it was, I guess I'm more of just a fan of the NFL in general, and I've grown up playing football in high school and watching it my whole life. I mean, if I have any loyalty, it's probably weirdly still to the Cardinals, even though they're in Arizona. Just because that's the team I grew up watching, Jim Hart and Neil Lomax and, Cliff Stout, trifecta of wonderful quarterbacks that we ran through in the 70s and 80s.
Jon Hamm, Krista Smith, the West Coast editor of Vanity Fair, joining me. Krista, if you're casting your John Elway the movie, can Jon Hamm pull that off?
100%, with some teeth prosthetics.
Right. A little tooth work done.
Yeah, if we could take like the mouth of like Gary Busey and put that on you, John, I think we might have something, right?
Also, I mean, Jon Hamm's a handsome guy, let's face it. But John Elway looks like he's wearing a Hulk suit underneath his button-down at all times.
Easy now.
Doesn't he?
He looks pretty great.
If you're talking smack about Elway in front of Krista, she will drop an elbow on you. I promise.
By the way, she would punch me in the face if it meant insulting John Elway. Don't think I'm not afraid of her. I got to say thank you to you. Have a very safe flight. I'm sure the girls on the plane are freaking out. Oh, my God, it's Jon Hamm in C-1B. That's an awful voice. Never raise your voice above that decibel ever again. John, thank you so much. This means a great deal. Krista, thank you for efforting everything.
Absolutely.
By the way, she made me sit next to a giant picture of Angelina Jolie. By the way, you know who's not going to win that contest? The Jewish girl. It's going to happen. Down.
Will you please give my love to Rich and your lovely family, and Krista to John and the boys. And I will see both of you someplace soon, I hope.
Okay. All right. Travel safe.
Krista Smith, you don't disappoint.
And
by the way,
fun.
I have your birthday present in the back. And by the way, just so you now have Broncos dangly earrings. You're welcome.
Oh, my God.
So I'm just saying. This is
wait.
what happens on The Rich Eisen Show, on the Rich Eisen Radio Network, DirecTV 239, and NFL Now. You never know who's going to call in. I can't appreciate that more, and thank you for efforting that. Let's take a pet peeve call. Can you stick around for one more call?
Yeah, of course.
Mike in Georgia, what do you have for me or for Krista? What's your pet peeve?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, I was just calling because I cannot stand the Florida State fans acting like they don't understand how they fell from the #1 spot because they haven't lost in 2 seasons. They're 23-0 or whatever. I just want them to know that that's not how it works, and your wins do not roll up from last season.
Yeah, Mike, it's so funny. Jimbo Fisher complaining about his out-of-conference schedule, saying it's stronger than people thought, and a lot of complaints from there. Those Florida State guys are very vocal. And again, it's a little bit like they do the we thing, a lot of tomahawk chop, a lot of anger. We'll see what happens. We've got a big game coming up tomorrow. But thank you for that call. I really appreciate it. And Krista.
I have a pet peeve.
What's yours?
Okay, and this is for all of you guys over there, my new friends, my new besties.
Oh, I love it. Can't wait for my invite to the party.
My pet peeve is all the pass interference calls. Why are there so many pass interference calls?
Well, it's a great pet peeve to have. We had Rod Woodson, Hall of Fame defensive back, on the show. They changed the rules this year on the defensive holding, if you will.
Yeah, it's one of those things every year they have point of emphasis on different rules that maybe haven't been getting the attention they should deserve based on the way the rule book is laid out. And one of them is defensive holding. You can't really have your hands on a guy after 5 yards like in the past you were able to. And so that's really getting...
So it slows down the games. Everyone's annoyed by it. And Rich stomps on the table all the time because 15 yards is huge. It's 3rd and 24. You just throw it up, and it's an automatic first down. So Jeff Fisher, Rams head coach, is on the competition committee. Every time we have him on, Rich harps on this, and Rich wants to see pass interference become a reviewable play because it is a huge turning point in the game.
Huge, and last night it was a big turning point in the game as well.
Huge turning
I would agree. I would do a replay on that.
I know you would.
Right.
I know you would. What else did you do? Give me one more thing.
Well, what else would I do? I mean, I don't know. If I was in, my other pet
Would you
peeve
wear a
is
pink hat?
I'm not as picky as all of that stuff. I don't mind all that. I feel like it's, people at the games, it's kind of like Halloween. They do all this crazy stuff. And, I mean, people wear giant cheeses on their head.
It's true. I love it. Yeah.
It's, and at that game when we were there for Thursday night, I forgot, Denver, people are face painted all in orange. We used to have the famous guy in the Bronco barrel. That's now part of our Denver, Colorado museum. That piece is literally an exhibition. So,
will you come back next time I'm in?
Absolutely. Done. So much fun.
Krista Smith, West Coast editor of Vanity Fair.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.